Today, we have Chris Hockley with Stratus Networks to discuss strong connections and better business. Welcome, Chris.
Great, thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate everyone's time today. I promise not to PowerPoint you to death here. I'm not sure how many of you folks are familiar with Stratus. If you're not, that makes complete sense because we're a smaller company that's probably not on your radar. So what I want to do here in the next kind of 20 minutes here is talk a little bit about us and more specifically kind of what my plan is here and my role with the company in terms of trying to help you folks out there in the marketplace um, actually acquire new logos and help sell more. So, by just I'll give you just a little overview here on my background. I've been in the business, as you can tell by the gray hair, almost 30 years. Sold every kind of communications infrastructure you can think of, everything from Wi-Fi to UCAS, CCAS, UC, network management. I also sold to carriers, last mile equipment to carriers as well. So I've sold to end users, systems integrators, and carriers. Uh, I share that background because as I get into this, part of what I want to try to do with select partners is to really be a sales resource for you and not just a vendor. And I'll get into some of that as well a little bit later here. So my place, I'm selling predominantly the tip of the spear with Stratus Networks is network connectivity. So that's my place. I recognize that in your ecosystem, it's important, but not maybe something you focus on necessarily. Some of your larger dollar items or things where you might be spending your time. So I only say that because I recognize that while network connectivity is important, it's not necessarily where you're spending all of your time focusing on new business. Right at the end of the day, however, it can be a very good lead in. Network connectivity customers could be a good starting point for maybe some of the other some of the other solutions that you want to sell them. So my role here at Stratus, I'm the channel sales director. My role is to help partners like you be successful. My plan here is in doing that, having been on your side of the fence most of my life. I was with a company, local systems integrator here for about 10 years. I worked at communications consultants that had even competed with you guys. My plan here is not to be the vendor that says, here's what I sell, go sell it, but also to try to help you guys with new logos and new business. So I've got some plans there too and some ideas there I want to share. So let me kind of get to the meat of the bones here. I mentioned we do some other things. We do have our own UCAS product. We have an SD-WAN product, but we're a carrier when we're a fiber provider at the end of the day. So that's really the tip of the spear for us. So we are a wholly owned business only fiber network. So we maintain the network, we build it, we support it. It's predominantly on network right now is in Illinois. We just acquired a company called iFiber in Northern Illinois. So pretty much most of the state right now we cover is where our fiber will cover. We have over 100 NNI agreements. So if you have prospects or clients in Illinois, we could be a very good fit there because also if these locations may have your prospects may have locations outside of Illinois. These NNIs allow us to do last mile service, and then we layer two things back to our network. So unlike some of the aggregators out there, we actually own our own network, and we provide a quality control on that those circuits that even have a last mile of, say, an AT&T or a Comcast. So we're able to do that because we bring that back. We're doing things like proactive monitoring and alerting. We're providing SLAs not only on uptime but also latency, jitter as well, with cost penalties. So we're kind of putting our the meat to the bone on that whole SLA and quality control portion of that. So network, vendor consolidation, that's kind of what I'm alluding to. So companies like, for example, that we do business with, like Caterpillar and country companies Caterpillar has about 80 or 90 locations throughout the country. So yeah, they have some core sites with us on our network, but we're also doing aggregation services for other locations. So they receive one bill from us, one service and support arm. We're proactive at monitoring and alerting all their circuits and services and that kind of thing. But again, our network is predominantly Illinois. So we provide multiple flavors of connectivity. We do have on net. We also provide a lower cost fiber option, which I'm sure you're probably all familiar with. AT&T's got a product out there too as well that does that, GPON or AIA product. So low cost symmetrical fiber. We will do broadband and we will also do wireless. So depending on whatever location a customer has and their requirements there, we can mix and match that, kit all that together, provide one bill for that service and support it with local NOCs that are here in the Midwest with our engineers that are, not help desk people and, that will actually answer the calls and provide service and support. It's not a very high bar for us to compete and win against, some service and support against companies like AT&T and Comcast. We do a fantastic job of that. So who we do this for, I mentioned some of the names on the right, Caterpillar, Country Companies, some very large enterprise, but we also work on the wholesale. A lot of the companies on the left-hand side of the screen here will want to get into our moat, so they'll resell us. We also have some very, very large multi-million-dollar contracts with some of the like Verizon and Dish, where we're doing a lot of backhaul for them too. So I get in a nutshell, why us, right? So I mean, network is network. But what I'll say is certainly there are some differentiators here. I mentioned the network consolidation or the aggregation play, and then bringing everything back, layer 2 service back to our network where we can provide a quality control part of that. We put our own router out at the customer site. So the performance tends to be really, really good. And the SLAs that we provide too as well. And we put money behind that too. If we're not meeting those, there's cost penalties for all of that stuff. Obviously, smaller company, much from a tailored approach. We actually will revise contracts. So you try that with a tier 1, but depending on what the requirement is, we're all really flexible that way. Certainly, the diverse play when you're on or near the network. Diverse routes, diverse entrance, diverse paths. So for those folks who may be looking at SD-WAN and want a secondary connection or just looking at ways to provide resiliency, we can play a really good play there. What we don't do is residential service. So everything on our network is business only. And that's, again, back to the whole performance thing. It's where it's engineered that way. It's all SDN fabric, so, in terms of from a service and support and provisioning perspective. And then we don't have much churn. If you're a customer of ours, I think our latest churn stat I thought was 0.03%. So, you're a customer of ours, we take care of you. So just kind of spitballing out of the box, like where would we make sense? Because you've got lots of choices. Certainly any alternative or a diverse option to some of the larger carriers. We can be a primary, secondary, or tertiary connection for their facilities. We actually will provide an automatic failover option. So if they're not yet SD-WAN, but let's say, they've got a circuit and they're looking for a secondary circuit, we have an offering called Secure Port where we basically create an NNI, and then we bring that circuit back so that if our circuit fails, those same static IP addresses will roll over to the secondary circuit, and that could be a third party. It doesn't have to be our circuit. I mentioned the regional. I'm going to say regional because there are some aggregators who do national better than us. But if you're regional, if you've got a prospect that's got locations in the Midwest, we can provide a really good solution there with a lot less latency. So that would be kind of our target. And so anyone who has multiple connectivity vendors and they're getting tired of all that stuff with all the invoices and having all the support stuff, we can be a really good fit there. We do provide competitive commissions. So we have a contract with you folks who recently upgraded that. I recently upgraded that contract with your team earlier this year. So trying to up the percentages on that. Those are the current percentages, 20% and on net, 17% off net. Which it's pretty competitive. You're looking across the board on other competitors. So the other thing that I also will provide is I do have building lists and resources, and I'm not sure if it makes sense for me to be saying this in an open forum with many salespeople here, but the message I want to convey here is that um, this is not just me trying to put my hands out here. That I've worked with other partners where I'm actively involved in helping them prospect for new logos. I'm on the phones. I'm helping. So this is something that I'm very open to doing. I have some intel I can provide there too. Again, this is you potentially carving out some time in your very busy day with all the other things you sell. So I recognize it's not necessarily a priority, but that's one of the ways I can help. And certainly account mapping and partnerships, and that's part of what I, what I'm, again, part of where I feel I can be of a resource here is to help with that. If you've got targets, my job here is to make this as easy as possible. So let's just say, hey, there's this guy, Chris, that may make sense, and you don't want to have to deal with it. I'm happy to you throw it over the fence. I'm working for you. We make progress, or you're involved. Obviously, that needs to be earned. You're not going to send something over the fence without knowing me or knowing how I work. But the idea is here, I want to make this as easy as possible. So that's the other part of this. That kind of concludes my formal comments or formal presentation. Let me know if there's any questions I can answer here.
Okay, I don't see any questions as of yet. Let me
Okay,
see.
no worries.
But
I did such a great job.
yeah.
No,
Exactly.
It's a very simple topic. Yeah.
All right. Well, we can go ahead. I don't see any. We can go ahead and conclude it, and we'll be sure to post your
Okay,
information for
great.
questions. Oh,
Awesome.
we do have one popped up. All right. Do you have a serviceability tool?
Serviceability tool. So are you talking about like a fiber tool? I'm assuming that they mean something like where can I find your network? Um,
Yes.
yeah, okay. So yeah, what I have, so I'm in the process right now. We do work with a couple of TSDs, but I am in the process right now of making that tool available on our website. We do not have that yet. So if you are interested in that, I'm happy to send you. It's an ArcGIS map, that could give you an idea of kind of some of the areas that we're at. So I'm happy to share that with you. But yeah, that's part of what I'm. So I was hired 3 months ago, and that was one of the top things on the agenda is to get that done. So that's not yet available on the website, but I do have some information there. So if you let me know who you are, I'm happy to send that to you.
Oh, that'd be great. And we can just post that on our intranet as well for all of.
Cool. That'd be great.
Um,
Yep.
okay, we have another question. Where in the Midwest is your network?
It's predominantly Illinois right now. So we're in the process we have there are some acquisitions that we're planning. I obviously can't disclose any of that, but for right now, it's Illinois. So if it's outside of Illinois, yes, we can do it. But it's predominantly Illinois. So when I'll send that serviceability information to your team here, then they can post that. That should give you the ideas of all the areas that we're in.
Yeah, that'd be great. And here's
Cool.
another question you kind of already answered, but do you have a network map?
Yeah, so that's part of what I'll submit to the internally here. So that'll get posted to whatever shared drive you guys have. I'll make sure I get that information to the team here.
Okay. And then also, do you offer SD-WAN?
We do. So yes, what we offer is Versa Titan. So that's a resale model. We have some of our larger customers on that, but you know how this works. It's like you get a network customer, and then they're comfortable with you, and then they'll engage you in that conversation. I'm not out there actively,
As you can.
trying to sell SD-WAN. It's a very good product. We do a very good job. Again, I would say again, think regional, not national on this, because there are other providers out there that do that better than we do. Um, but yes, we do sell that. And Versa is the only platform we do. We don't do any of the other platforms. It's a very good platform from a security perspective. So that's why we chose it and we sell it.
And do you have UCAS service?
We do. We sell, we resell in Net Sapiens, which that's the, again, but it's a similar situation where that's grown organically from current customer bases. Will it make, could it make sense with somebody? Sure. If somebody's got a connectivity and they've got voice service from, like, say, a Comcast, and they say, look, I want just one vendor to do it all. Yeah, I mean, that we absolutely will do that. I know you guys also have a bunch of vendors that that are just in that space that you could leverage too as well. So um, what I would say are where our product fits, it's inexpensive. It's got all the basic features that you need. It's not anything, there's not any involved call center functionality or anything like that, or AI. It's just very basic. It does a good job, but it's basic and inexpensive. So
Okay. Is network all of Illinois or specific region with fiber coverage?
all of Illinois, with the exception of Chicago and the west suburbs of Chicago.
All right.
Most of Illinois, yeah.
Well,
So I apologize. I don't have that. I will get that network map to the team so that, because I know I'll make sure I get that so that can be posted.
okay, no problem. And another question is, if we need is it KMZ? If we need a KMZ for a location, would you be able to provide that?
Absolutely. And please, I think you have my contact information. Any of this stuff, if something comes up, just shoot me an address and I'll tell you right away if it makes sense or not. Obviously, you don't have any idea what that would be until I get you your map, but I will get you your map. And I do have a KMZ too as well. So I'll make sure I get all that to the team.